Hi, what new possibilities will you create? Today's guests will share their story and provide insight. From my network to yours, let's get to it.
I'm Kaplan Mobray, author, motivational speaker, career consultant. When you have a mental game plan for change, you're ready for anything. In life, if you always stay in a state of go, then you can never be in a state of stop. And G, gratitude it's one of the most essential supplements that you can feed your mind, your body, your soul, your being. The pros and cons of seeking employment at this time, and you've got to be in the game to be found. Check in, check up, and check forward. When you become good at being efficient, companies want more efficiency. There is no excuse to not be connected. Talking careers, we're talking the post-corona pivot.
Yep.
We're talking how to retool. We're talking it all. We're talking health. We're talking it all.
Yeah, and for new folks that just joined new, again, like Kaplan's been blessing us with so much intel from the amazing questions you guys have been asking.
How do you now approach relationship networking building in what is becoming a more virtual? Excellent question. Who's that? It's a great question. So let me answer this question. Nothing replaces human interaction and human touch and the ability to see and look and connect. However, we are in a society, and I said this is a 5-month experiment on social virtual connectivity and can it work? And it does work. The key is this: we have to find. I know I got my friends from New Orleans on here. It's like gumbo. You've got to find many and multiple ways to connect, and you've got to create a system, a sauce for yourself that means I check in, I pick up the phone. A lot more people picked up the phone in the last 3-4 months than they've done for the last couple of years.
Yes.
I picked up the phone, I sent an email, I got on a video chat, I did a webinar, I followed up, I sent a package or sent a note. But you got to mix it all in. A lot of people only had really one mode. I'm going to email you, wait for you to call me and email me back. I'm going to call you and wait for you to call me back. I'm going to text you. Most people, I'm going to text you and wait for you to text me back.
Yo, that's a big one.
So what we've learned, Paul, PCP on the royalties, we'll split them. But here's the thing. We have to mix it all in. And that's what this post-corona pivot has taught us. Every single form of communication matters. It's not enough to have one mode, because if you have one mode, you are losing the opportunity to now connect multiple ways and faster. So what do you see as being one of the most important skills to learn in the next 5 to 10 years?
We may hit that one. Go ahead. Yeah,
I want to say that again. And again, if you are, we're gonna go all night. So
no doubt. I'm down, man.
If you have friends that are in their careers and need advice, we're here talking and sharing. Invite them. Go to your network. Invite them to be here with us. We're talking careers. We're talking retool. We're talking post-corona pivot. We're talking how do you get back to work. We're talking how do you stay. How do you elevate. We're talking it all. We're here. I'm here with Mr. Rose, my great friend. I'm here in the green room.
I love this guy. I love Kat. I love you, man. I love you, man. I love you, man. I love you.
So here's the thing. What this post-corona, what this time has taught us is this: lean, efficient, and still being productive. One of the core skills that are going to be needed in this next 5 to 10 years is, I believe, operational efficiency. Being able to now shorten the way that people do things to find a faster solution to do things to grow. So that's one thing that this taught us. It's really taught us to understand that you've got to find faster ways to do things in the midst of not being able to always see someone or have a meeting. And that's been true before, but it's really true now. It's really true now. So you have to be a solution provider to efficiency. That's a key skill. It's a key skill. And guess what? Technology does that.
Yeah.
Technology does that. So if you're going to be what I call, and maybe I don't know if this even exists, but you can pin this to me too. You need to be a technical re-engineer.
Yes.
You need to be someone who re-engineers the way people and companies and teams use technology to be more efficient.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. You need to re-engineer the way that people and teams use technology to be efficient. If you can do that, and it's a skill, and you sell that, you're going to be well employed for the next many years. So I would say that. So that beyond the other, I still think it's going to be. I still think interpersonal is important. I still think that people need to see leadership and but you need to now connect in a different way. So one of the questions I think that came out of what our discussion is, how do you connect in this, economy? Most people, you don't, used to be you walk the halls and you network with the senior leaders and that's how you got to head to the next level. Now you've got to find ways to drip connectivity to actually be known. It's important that you don't disappear, because here's the thing that happens to some people. I'm working from home. I'm in my pajamas, right? I'm actually on the treadmill while the conference call is going on. Actually, I put the conference call out. I went out and did a lap. And I came back and I didn't miss a beat.
Nice.
Right? But for some people, it's a chance to check out. But while you're checking out, there are other people who are checking in. While you're checking out, there are other people checking in. And they're checking up. And they're checking forth. And guess what? When it comes time for that next promotion because somebody moved to the next company, the person who did the check-ins and the checkups and the check-forths while you were running laps, they're getting the next opportunity.
Correct.
So you have to position yourself. The great thing about technology is it's a drop in the bucket. It's just it's like a post. It's a drop in the bucket. So make sure that you are dripping and making sure staying connected with people. And sometimes, guess what? A like is a connection. It's a connection. But then checking on someone, so that I think is going to be important in the years ahead. I want to get to some more questions.
Yeah, here's a good one right here. It's important. It's actually a question I'm going to ask you about books. You give some good advice and good perspective. So Trace asked a question here. I would say even beyond change management, just books in general. What books, change management books you recommend? Just books. What's some of your top 3 advice to read, including your old book, include your book too. So 3 plus yours too.
Yeah, no, I think this is. I would say it like this, because I think it's important that people understand that change, there's a couple things that happen with change. One is just being emotionally resilient. As an author, I think it's important that people think about books, but think about the problem that the book or the suit they're trying to solve.
Yes.
So I would answer this question very differently. I'm going to answer this question as, in this economy, when you're going through emotional change, career change, sometimes even life change.
Yeah.
When you have books that help you address those particular problems, understand what's the problem you're trying to solve.
Correct.
That's going to drive you to the result, that you want. So I think that's really, really important. There's the power of habit. There's another great. I think habit is really important, because the habits that you develop in times of challenge become the habits that push you in times of triumph. I left a big high-paying corporate job in the midst of the recession of 2010. So it started in 2008, and then it still lingered. I wrote the book in 2009, left my corporate job in 2010. And I wrote this book, the 10 Ks of Personal Branding. Now, here's the point. In any particular recession, it's all about how you're showing up post-recession. That's going to be important. So I think, in this case, your brand and how you're showing up, what you want to be known for, what are you going to do consistently, and what are you going to be known for? I think it's essential. Yeah, it's essential, because the question that your employer, your boss, everyone's going to be looking at is how are you going to show up when this all passes? That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. How are you going to show up when this all passes? And that's going to be really key. Because the way you show up. If you were more lethargic because you got a chance to work from home, and you show up slower and not more efficient, not faster, they're going to be looking at that. Yeah. But if you show up if you show up with efficiency, with new skills, with new ways that you're bringing, new solutions you bring to the table, a fresh start, company's going to look at that. Your boss is going to look at that. So I say that. The other thing I want to say for those on the phone, make sure that you go back and look at your old performance reviews. This is a great time. This is a great time to kind of, clean up your house, clean up your closets, clean up your credit, clean up your bills, clean up your processes, clean up your space, clean up your resume, clean up your LinkedIn profile. This is a great time to just really do all those type of things. But one thing that employers and job seekers don't do, and I advise this to all my clients, go back and look at the last 3 years of performance reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the narrative. Look at the words that your boss or someone who rated you, evaluated, used to describe you, and see how you've evolved, and make sure you've evolved. You know, because the things that you did that created habits. Again, I'm talking about the power of habits. Things that you did that created habits that were patterns of success are what you're going to need for future success. How do you pivot in crisis? A couple things. And I said this at the top of the hour, so I'm going to repeat it for those that didn't hear it.
No doubt.
So a couple things. We talked about the color green, and we talked about the why behind it. Green is, for me, it's always about being in a state of go. Because in life, if you're always in a state of go, you can never be in a state of stop or a state of stuck. And what that means is you always have to be in a position before a crisis comes to know what you would do when a crisis comes. So I'll say that again. You have to be in a position before a crisis comes to know what you're going to do when a crisis comes.
Correct.
And you think about market movers, the people who drive, change. It's because they're prepared for change. We embrace change. At the top of the hour, I said that the biggest thing we can do, the biggest supplement that we can take is vitamin G, gratitude. Right? We have to be grateful for the opportunity. But the point is this. Financially, if you put aside money so that it can help you in times of change, you're not so shook. In your career, if you're retooling your skills daily, weekly, monthly, adding a new skill, adding new competency, adding something new that you learned, you're now open to new industry opportunities when it comes time to look for a new job or to pivot. It's always important. And this is another tip that I share, and I shared it in my recent blog. You should always have an entrepreneur pivot too.
Yes.
Right, because a lot of people are out of work, really good skills, really great companies, and they don't want to have a big gap on the resume when they know that could be a time when there could be a gap. So you should always have an entrepreneur pivot. And what that means is, if you get laid off from your job, but you know that you help clients, it could be the, mom and pop stores in your neighborhood. It could be clients that you've helped that still want your advice. All of a sudden you become Your Name LLC.
Yes.
You become yourname.com. You become Your Name because you are still giving advice. So what that means is, in your job right now, exactly, Paul, stay ready. Because guess what? If you stay ready,
doubt, Paul,
you don't got to do what? You don't got to get ready.
Yeah, right? Stay ready.
So,
Jamie knows.
You stay ready. You don't got to get ready.
So you need to be live, man. Go ahead. We got to pin these things, man. Someone
man,
tell
your friends. We're talking careers, retool.
Whoa.
Get them on here. We're going all night talking. This is the DJ Nice of careers. We're going all night.
J Nice and J Nice.
D Nice and J Nice. So here's the thing. You stay ready. That means that if you always have to have a pivot. Yeah. So that means an entrepreneur pivot. That means, what can I do? And guess what? If you are bilingual, when you lose your job, automatically you're a translator. Automatically. Yeah. I want you to say that. If you are bilingual, if you lose your job, automatically you are a translator. I am so-and-so services, translation services. And you start helping people. So always have a pivot. The second is always have people in your network that you can call, right? It's important to have a ready now network, which means people who know how to navigate organizations and can bring you in. Always have someone who's going to give you what I call an informational interview. Informational. That means I'm going to cut the line.
Yep. I'm
going to cut the line. And I'm gonna bring you into my office, and I'm gonna have someone invite you on a Zoom call, and I'm gonna introduce you to them in an informational setting. You're gonna cut the line.
Yeah.
But the pivot is real, and the PCP is real. You got to be ready.
What's PCP? Tell them again for those who just joined.
It's called the post-corona pivot.
For my NAMA family, what advice would you give to 2020 grads? Oh, that's true. Ooh. Wow.
Great question. Woo.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's a great question. I want to tackle this.
Yeah.
And for those that have, kids, grads at home, back in 2016, everyone's like, 2020, we the class of 2020. We the class of 2020. A couple things that are very important. Empathy will be a big skill and a big paradigm for 2020 grads. This is a year like none other. but it's also going to show what people are made of. So if you've got a 2020 grad right now, if you've got someone who is graduating, who is applying for schools, who is going to school, or looking to figure out what to do because half of the year is gone, they lost half of the year to retool their credentials. They have to do things over and above to show who they are in the midst of change, right? And here's an example. There's some people, and this is happening, you see it online, some people kids who, grads who said, I'm gonna make masks for first responders. And they went through their wardrobe with their clothes and they started cutting things up, and they became an entrepreneur, and they became someone who could be over and above a resource to others. And now they have a very powerful story to tell. And that powerful story is probably worth more than, 20 whatever on your ACTs.
Yeah. And actually, every from one of my future sessions too, my heart, Mia LJ, she's a singer. And I'm a huge follower on Instagram, and she's embraced what you just said, and she's living that, and she's coming out and saying, how can she raise the consciousness now? How can she tap into that raised consciousness, better word, and health and the wellness and awareness and mass. So stay tuned for that one too, because she's 22, but man, the power and mindset that she has is insane. And I looked at her, I mentioned her specifically because she's that group that's graduating and looking to move in career for us, and they're so rich. My son is 20, about to turn 21, and I watched them and how to engage in this, understanding the ebb and flow of technology. I just see the awakening of so much more of the mind than we had never tapped into before. We were so comfortable that a job would give us what we need, and that was safe. I see a resurgence of the small business, the independent consultants. I see a resurgence in those spaces. So I'm looking forward to the 2020 class. Yeah,
it's great. The other thing I think it teaches us is we have to have multiple streams of income.
Yes. Say again.
Yeah. We have to have multiple streams of income.
Yes.
Yeah.
I told you the same thing.
We have to have multiple streams of income, and that it could come from a lot of different ways. But your job is just one facet. Yeah. It's important to understand, but also do it from a place of where you have a strength. Do it from a place of it's a natural extension from what you do in your job as a give back to then create it as a give too. So it's important to have multiple streams. So we have to always ask ourselves every quarter. You should ask yourself, if I lost my job this quarter, what could I do to still drive income, or what could I do to continue to raise awareness for future income? So I think that's important. But for 2020 grads, I think someone just said, innovative is so key, because innovation and leadership and empathy are going to supersede ACT scores or things like that. It's going to allow you to but it is a difficult year. And I know, we know personally, people are still waiting to hear from opportunities from school, and it's happening all around the country. Yeah. And so a couple of things. Colleges and universities are going to be more empathetic in terms of students getting in, but also people who are hiring people from the class of 2020. If you're going to be a differentiated candidate, this is now the time to do it. So if you got someone who's graduating from college and they are looking to get a job in whatever industry, don't just go post your resume.
Correct.
Don't just ask for a job. You have to come with a package of innovation that comes with your candidacy.
True.
So that they're talking about you and your story well before the interview. Now, I'm going to give you a personal story. And
please.
So a couple of things. Everything that I say, I practice what I preach. Everything I wrote in my book, I practice what I preach. I talk about your brand precedes you. And for the 2020 grads that are coming out, or for people now even getting a job, your brand is going to precede you. People meet you before they meet you. So you have to put yourself in a position so someone has something to say about you well before you get to the interview. I'll tell you a story. When I was first, early on in my career, and I had a chance for an interview with a really good company, I sent a box of Mrs. Fields cookies to the interviewer before the interview. And it was an interview on a Friday, and it was about 3:00. I knew that Friday at 3:00 means snack time. Mm-hmm. So I sent the box like a couple days before. So when I got to the interview, I wasn't just Kaplan Mobray, we're going to interview this guy for a job. It was like, oh, he's the Mrs. Fields cookie guy. He's the cookie guy. So I had a way to connect to that particular employer well before I answered questions in the interview. What that means for 2020 grads and for you getting a job, whatever your story is and how you dealt with this particular change and this particular time, there's a story that we all built. So if you're going to get a job, especially for those that have people graduating in 2020, make sure that they position themselves with what did they do over and above with this time that positions them to be a story before they get to tell their story.
What are the main concerns for professionals post-corona, and what we need to do to pivot?
I think so. Here's what I hear, and I study this space. This is what I do. The biggest concern is, will I have a job? The biggest concern is, will I have a job when I come back? And how long will it take for my company to get back to normal, or are things going to change to the point where it's going to be harder for me to move and grow my career? A lot of people are on the midst of being promoted and things like that, or making sales numbers, quotas, things like that, or But the point is, the biggest concern I feel is will I have a job? How will I retool my career? Does this year totally take me out of the ability to get promoted because I was in the process and now things got stalled? And how do I make sure that I'm staying relevant?
And mention that too, I would say, and as you share, make sure the audience gets this too. I want to make sure, keep me honest too, Cap. Honestly, that's transferable. That means a job being a big business, working for a company like Amazon, or that means using an entrepreneur as yourself and saying, hey, my career and what I want to do to grow, if it's music, if it's a book, if it's artistry, those same principles apply. Because sometimes, hey, I was about to do, like, for example, I was about to go on tour and my whole tour got canceled. Or I was about to do like Stephanie Ball, for music, opera. And now so those same confinements are applicable to your traditional structured career as, from working for a company and also yourself. Will you agree?
Absolutely. As an entrepreneur, the same rules apply, and that's why it's important to do this. And here's a tip. It's a very instructional tool. We should always know the questions that lead people to you, whether it's you in your career or you in as a business owner. What are the questions that people have or problems they're trying to solve that lead people to you? So that's one. And then the second thing is, in this Corona time, what are the new questions that you can create for people to come to you? What are the new things that you can do so that other questions will lead people to you, right? And that's going to allow you to pivot. And then on the other end, it's what are the new problems that you can be known for solving? What are the new problems you can develop a skill for solving based on who you are and what you know? So it's all about expanding your ability to position you for opportunity and expanding your skill set. So if you just do your job in this time and not take the time to reskill or add a new skill or learn a new something, you could be expendable later. And here's an example. Thanks, Vita, for that. I'll give you my own personal example. My business, at the top of the hour, I talked about it. I said my business is all about being in front of a lot of people and being on a lot of planes. And in this time, I can't be with a lot of people, and I miss you all. I miss you, all of you. Nadia, I miss you. Vita, I miss all of you guys. I miss you. So we can't be with a lot of people. And I can't be on planes, but I know this. I want to help you, and I want to help you in your career. So my pivot was, what's another question that could lead people to you other than I need a high energy speaker who's gonna, wear a Spider-Man mask and jump out of buildings and play the saxophone and inspire you to be better in your life and career. I said, listen, I want to help you in your career. I know that 7 million people are going to be out of work. And my initial pivot was, and you've seen it if you've been following me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, I want to help you to retool. So I launched in the middle of the career. I launched a resume rehab business. It's called Rehab My Resume. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been getting flooded with resumes from all around the world. I just got one from London last night. And I've been working around the clock, helping people to give them a free review of their resume. And if they want me to rebrand it and service, that's a service I provide. But the point is this, I don't stay still, right? We don't stay still. It's about how do we stay in a state of go based on the ability to be a resource. So so that's an example. Is find a new question. So the new question was, hey, do you know someone who could help me with my resume, because I think I'm going to get laid off from my job? Boom. That's a question now that can come to me.
So true. So
hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. I could borrow a little bit of that same question too. Like, so as you guys know, I love people, I love energy, and I came back, and I think I shared last week's one. So those who joined last week, thank you as well. So I felt the pressure and the missingness of humans in my life, and I like to be around people, and it was burdened. Then I got present to it and said, what new possibility can I create, which led to here. And so, I would take it to what Kaplan said too, anchor to your mission, right? So what do people come to you for, right? And for me, it's always been coaching, inspiring, engaging, investing in people. This is perfect platform for that. As far as inspiring, engaging, and connecting. So I'm still staying true to my mission and my vision, but I was able to evolve it to the platform thanks to you guys for joining in and telling the other folks. I'm going to do this consistently every week, every Thursday. I may do it more. The list is increasing. I would love the demand of folks who want to speak out to my network, speak out to the network. So that's how you do it. So
and guess what? And Veda just brought up the point. You find new things about yourself, and this is the thing that we should all find something new about ourselves, or realize that we are only just a pivot away from another business, another service line. And Veda is on this, and she has. I've gotten, since I've been posting. If you've been following me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and please do. And I've been posting, every day on resumes. I have corporations reaching out to me saying, "Hey, if you get a resume for this, send it my way. Hey, if you get a resume for this, send it my way." So, absolutely, is there an ability to help companies source talent? Absolutely. And guess what? That's another post-corona pivot, or what we call PCP. Are you down with PCP? Yeah, you know me.
Let me pop a question up for you. Oh, from the beautiful Mia LJ. Beautiful musician, singer, my niece, my love. She's creating possibilities. Thank you for joining. As you will share your experience with us, what is driving force? Purpose. So what is your driving force? What's your purpose?
Purpose. I mean, so here's a couple things, and I want you to take notes. Great question, and I appreciate it. And again, for those that are watching, listening, please invite your friends. We're going to be here all night talking careers, retooling. When you know your purpose, and I want you to hear this very, very clearly, because this is how I live my life, but also it's also helped me to move through life with a certain cadence. When you know your purpose, you don't have to question who you are. You spend more time living your significance, right? So what happens is, in life, you get to a point in life where you work this job and you move careers, and you're laid off, and you go to another job, and you go this and that, and then all of a sudden, bing, one day you're like, what's my purpose? Like, really? Like, and guess what? You're like this, I don't know. And if you don't know your purpose, you're like, all right, I guess I'll just do this. I guess I'll just do that. But the reality is, when you know your purpose, you don't have to question who you are or why you're here. You can spend time living your significance. So what that means is, I know that I am here for you. I am here to serve. I am a servant. I am here for you. And that's my mission. It's not my mission because it's a job. I work for myself. It's a mission because it's a being. It's who I am. It's what I've committed, myself to be. So the driving force for me is, I am here to inspire you to change your life for the better. I want you to be better. However, whatever interaction you have with me, however it is, whenever it is, however long, whatever, I want you to be better. I want to be that guy that makes you better.
Yeah.
Right? So because I know that, then everything, I'm going to say that again. No one can discount you when you know your value. Because guess what? You're not on sale.
Yeah. Dude, one thing, oh my gosh, something that you said, someone asked a question earlier regarding, something you said earlier about performance reviews and looking back 3 years. And that tells a story, because a lot of cases, and I think right now, if you haven't experienced it yet, I'll share my perspective. Working from home, I'm seeing this transformation already on the Zoom meetings, the face-to-face. People got scruffy faces, beard, your boss looking like they wearing t-shirts. People are starting to be authentically them.
Right.
And then what happens, the conversation shifts, the decisions you're making shift because you're being you. A lot of times we gotta put makeup on, I don't mean physical makeup, but just makeup on and dress ourselves up, put the mask on to come to work. And then what happens, you're not being your authentic you. They can't see you, as a result, they can't trust you, which then shows up in your evaluation. And for a long time, I didn't realize I'm being what I think they want me to be. No. Once you're you and you know your purpose and why you're here, you show that consistently every day. There's no question, there's no doubt, and folks follow you.
Yeah.
People want you there actually come into the room. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And that you know, you have to be authentically you. But you also have to know the why you are authentically you. You got to know that why. You got to know your why. You know, if you don't know your why, you're subjected to a what if. And
teach them about that. What does that mean?
You know,
define it for them. Define it.
You know, so what that means is, you know, when someone says, you know, why do you do what you do, right? And the what you do and the how you do it, you know, why do you do what you do? You need to know what that answer is, because that directs how you show up. That directs how you show up.
Correct.
You know. And you know, we could talk about it. I mean, you have to be a steward of your words. You have to be a steward of your sacrifice. You know, and this is the time, and think, you know, this is the time where we should be working harder than we've ever worked before. And this is, you know, and this is also a time where we should also be willing to sacrifice. You know, and we talked about that. And, you know, I think you're going to have a future guest, maybe Kim Reed, come on your show, which she's talking about.
Heck yeah, okay.
You know, so, you know, service and sacrifice are so important. And thank you for those that just recently joined. Service and sacrifice is so important. Guess what? It's so important now. Because guess what? Everyone's watching how you show up now.
Yes.
In times of crisis.
Yes.
In times of change.
One thing I give insight is, I know it's not limited to my day job. The folks that know my day job is working at Amazon. One of the key things we look at is, are you able to deal with pace, and are you agile enough to deal with? That's the requirements. It's beyond just what your resume say, as far as here's my technical experience and here's what I've done in the platform. But am I able to iterate, adjust, change? We're living it, guys. We're learning how to say, hey, I never had to use Facebook Live before, Instagram Live before, but now I'm learning. Now, hey, there's the tools out there. I'm at to create the tool. Is there platforms out there? We're learning, and we learn how to be agile. This stuff you bring back to your employer.
Right, and guess what? Their eyes are open for new ways to do things better. If you can be someone who can say, here's a new technology, here's a new app that's going to allow us to do things better, that works. You know, it is time, fam, to invest in yourself. It is time to make things happen and adapt. But guess what? I want to say this one thing for everyone who's here. We need to have and be grounded in what I call OMG. Let me explain. When change hits you, I don't know if my man Paul is on again, but you know, this is another. So we got PCP and we got OMG. I'm going to explain. So when change hits you, a lot of people say, OMG, and they watch and they stay stuck, and they're watching the change. They're watching they're watching the circumstance. And guess what? The circumstance is watching them too. And then there are people who say, okay, what new possibilities can I create? What new things can I do to reinvent or reinvest or reimagine? And what am I grateful for? Right? So OMG is there's some people who are OMG and they're watching the change, the circumstance hit them and happen to them, and they're a victim of the circumstance. Or you're someone who says optimism, magic, and gratitude. OMG. And optimism says this.
I didn't see that coming, man.
Optimism, magic, and gratitude. I'm going to say that again, because you down with PCP, you better be down with OMG. Now, here's what it means. Optimism is your ability to see possibilities regardless of the circumstance. You got to be able to see possibilities regardless of the circumstance. And you got to be looking for it, because guess what? In life, you see what you look for. So if you look for, despair, guess what you're going to see? Despair. If you look for stalled or things not happening or going your way, guess what? You're going to see things not going your way.
Yep.
But if you look for the opportunity that comes with change, discomfort, uncertainty, you are going to find an opportunity to be better through it.
Yeah.
So that's
I see Rick on here too.
right?
Yeah, man.
All right, Rick. Right. So that's one.
Yeah.
So magic, and I'm always about magic because guess what? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a magician, and I still want to be a magician. But I realized because I couldn't pull rabbits out of a hat, I could play the saxophone. So I started playing Mr. Magic. That's why I always play Mr. Magic by Grover Washington Jr. That's my little tribute to my childhood, to wanting to be a magician.
That's dope.
But here's the thing: magic is about pulling something new out of a hat that that you hold, but it's a question of were you pulling anything out. Some people are holding the hat but not pulling anything out of it.
Correct. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, some people we're all holding hats, but are you pulling anything out of it?
You spot on, and what I tell people I hear is, and I always try to figure out how to address it is, and you said it perfectly, is don't stand idle. It's like standing idle in this time is like being on at the airport on that band, right? The other direction. You're standing still going the wrong way. It's pulling
the wrong way, right.
Wrong way, going backwards. This is not a time. You're not walking forward and progressing. You will be left. And what I mean by walking forward, it's your mind.
It's your mind. Your mind is the most important and most valuable arsenal against anything.
Correct.
It just is. So the point is this: you're either in a state of stuck, or you're in a state of start.
Yeah.
We should always be able to start when change hits us, because the most powerful thing we have is our ability to push forward. So magic, the OMG magic, is about pulling something new out of the hat.
Yeah, man.
And making sure that you're pulling, not just holding the hat.
Correct. I'm gonna pop a question up for that. That's dope.
And let me just finish up with gratitude. So because I want to finish this last on gratitude. The G for OMG is gratitude. You have to be grateful for the change, just as you are grateful for the convenience.
Say it again. My bad.
You have to be grateful for the change, just as you're grateful for the convenience. Because guess what? The change is going to allow you to learn something new about yourself. It's going to make you better. But if you're not grateful for it, you're going to miss the opportunity to learn something new.
Man, yeah, because you hit the nail on the head. Like one question you answered earlier was, how do you find gratitude, during this period, and you just hit the nail on the head and seeing opportunities. So I appreciate that, man.
Every single day, and this is what I do. So I don't say anything that I don't do myself. Yep. Every single day, I do three things. I say, who are you, right? Give yourself some attributes that tell you, reaffirm who you are. What are you grateful for? And what are you looking forward to? It's a practice that centers you in the ability to always understand that you and your gratitude for life and opportunity is what pushes you forward, ever and always.
Oh my gosh!
OMG! So Paul, are you down with PCP? And if you are, you also got to be down with OMG. PCP is the post-Corona pivot. It's going to come from optimism, magic, and gratitude. The OMG that connects to your PCP.
So how do you manage situations where roles, rescinded due
Great question.
Oh my gosh. Great question.
I've seen this. Like I said, I've been reviewing hundreds of resumes this last couple of weeks, and I've been talking to many, many candidates, and this situation has happened to many people. They were on the verge of a promotion, on the verge of a new job. And literally they were supposed to start like in 2 weeks. And then the pandemic hit and the company says, oh, we can't hire you anymore. Or you got to come back and reapply in May. Or there's no job. Or the company's not going to be around for you to even work there anymore. All those scenarios have happened. So a couple of things. You were good enough to get the job. You're still good enough to get the job. So that's one. So what you have to do is really focus on relationship capital, right? That means that people who were in the process of your hiring and know, again, the problem that you can solve for the company or for that division, for that team, you have to be doubly aware and doubly intentional to make sure you are closely connected to the opportunity. And it works with consultants as well. If you have clients that hired you and all of a sudden they can't hire you because they can't bring you in or they have to cut the budget, or they have to cut their funding, or cut even the contract, you got to love on those clients. Like tomorrow, if you got a client that is your best client, you should be calling them saying, hey, is there anything I can do? I just want to check in on you. Hey, if there's every way I can help, this is a tough time. I'd love to help your clients. If I can do something for your team for free, I want to be a resource. You got to stay connected. You got to stay sticky, connected to your client and your team. You have to offer something unconventional, out of the box. And you have to do that in a way to stay connected. Because guess what? If you were good enough to get the job, you're good enough to get the job. Now, if the job is just no longer there, guess what? You're good enough to get the job. You're good enough to get a job somewhere else. A person, Brandon's right here. You see it here.
Yeah.
It's a book that's going to help you to understand how to show up every day with intention.
Yeah.
To build your brand. And the principles are: know yourself, know what you want to be known for, be consistent.
Yeah.
Know how to accept failure as a part of what makes you who you are. Know how to communicate your personal brand attributes. Know how to create your own opportunities. That means that don't wait for things to happen to you. Create the opportunity. The seventh is know and master the art of connection. That means that you have to connect this time, this opportunity, and who you are to who you will become. Know that silence is not an option. You have to show up. And what that means is if you're sitting at a table, or if you're sitting on a Zoom call and not bringing nothing to it, you're just taking up space that someone wants you to see or your view. And the ninth is know your expectations, not your limitations. And the 10K is know why. Know the why that you have that creates who you are. Know why you do what you do today and how it shapes where you head tomorrow. And the last one is the special K. Know how to ask for what you want. So if you don't ask for what you want coming out of this post-corona pivot,
wow,
then you don't create the opportunity for what you want to exist. So I thank those that have been with us for hour 1, hour 2, who just joined for the last whatever. But this is a tremendous time.
For those who join, we are doing this every Thursday. I literally, Kaplan, I don't even know this, man. I got on here singers, some join here, artists.
Book is available on Amazon, yes.
Yeah, D&I, diversity inclusion leaders. We got nonprofit owners. We got business owners, realtors, motivational speakers like yourself. It's every Thursday, 8 p.m. East Coast time, Philly, New York time, and 5 p.m. PST, Seattle, LA, Cali time. Every Thursday, I'm not stopping. This is PCP. I love y'all too much. We got to keep it moving, keep it going. And again, the whole point for those who join is what new possibility do you see yourself is being created that you will create in this time, not may, where you will create this time.
Right.
And how we can expand your awareness and how are you receiving right now? We want to provide how you receiving right now skills,
right,
to navigate this climate of certainty. That's the intentions. That's the purpose. Right. That's the vision that Kaplan you made so real tonight.
Thank you so much. And
books are available on Amazon. Thanks for the plug. Yes, Amazon books.
It is available on Amazon. Absolutely. 10Ks of personal branding.
Yes, on Amazon platform. Yes.
Thank you, Nadia. Yes, thank you. So I leave you with this.
Yep.
Right? We get one shot. We all get one shot. And this 5-month period of time, whatever it's going to be, we'll give you a receipt. Make sure you do something with this time that allows you to grow, be better for yourself and for others. But understand that every single day that you have an opportunity to breathe, you have an opportunity to make whatever circumstance in your life better, including your career. So be grateful, and always leave with this. Tell yourself something that you are. Tell yourself something you're grateful for, and tell yourself something you're looking forward to. And that way, you're always in a state of growth. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Until next time.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thanks so much.
Remember, this will be live for another 24 hours. So tell your friends and still missed this to still watch it. And I will then load it later. But tell them to watch the next 24 hours on my page. And Mr. Rhodes will be there, man. Take care, y'all. All right.
Later.
Hello, this is Mr. Rose. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to come back every week for new podcast content. Special thanks to my daughter and her team and all their hard work putting this content together. Be engaged. Be aware. Be ready. Be heard. Thank you.